الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 in verse 246 بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى إذ قالوا لنبي لهم ابعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله. Have you not considered the assembly of the children of Israel after the time of Moses, when they said to a prophet of theirs, send to us a king that we will fight in the way of Allah? Now Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala gives us many stories in the Quran, and those stories are not meant to be historical events. They're lessons to be learned from throughout history. The background of this story is after the children of Israel were saved from Pharaoh, they crossed the Red Sea, and the order was head to Jerusalem. And we all know that the verses in the Quran, this is told in Surah Al-Baqarah from verses 246 to 251. Then when Prophet Musa alayhi salam told them, enter the Holy Land, they said, no. We're not going to go. You go fight with your Lord. We're going to sit here. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala punished them for 40 years. They went in circles until a new generation was born. Now that new generation was determined to do better. And under the leadership of Yusha bin Nun, Joshua, who was the student of Sayyidina Musa, they were victorious, and they conquered and they entered Jerusalem. After a while, things kind of went back to, same old. And the Amalekites came in. They were giant people, and they kicked them out of Jerusalem, took all of their holy possessions. So this is the background of the story. So another generation was born, and they told their prophet, we are ready to liberate the Holy Land. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? And الملأ ألم تر إلى الملأ من بني إسرائيل من بعد موسى إذ قالوا لنبي لهم ابعث لنا ملكا نقاتل في سبيل الله. So the Mala, the leadership among the different tribes, they quarreled with each other. Nobody wanted the leadership because they knew whoever got the leadership, he's going to be the victim of Goliath, who was the leader of the Amalekites. So, and the question by itself, send us a king. What are you? You are all the leadership of the tribes. Can't you figure out somebody among you to lead you? You want God to send you a king, Mahdi, because you have nothing to do with that. I mean, they basically did not want the leadership. They were cowards. And cowards are not fit to be given leadership. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, okay, you're serious about going and liberating the Holy Land. He put them through 4 tests. And with each test, certain group kind of fell off. Because that's how, whenever you say, I believe, or you claim something, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala will put you through tests to see how true you are to your word. So Allah put them through 4 tests to see how serious they were about liberating the Holy Land. So the first test is Allah ordered them to fight. فَلَمَّا كُتِبَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْقِتَالُ تَوَلَّوْا إِلَّا قَلِيلًا مِّنْهُمْ. And the verse says, when Allah ordered them to fight, only a few says, yes, we will comply. And most of them just like, no. I don't want to be killed. Let somebody else find that battle. And in language, a few is 10% at best. And the historical numbers put their original number at 800,000. They were 800,000. So out of the 800,000, only 80,000 says, okay, let's, maybe we're ready to fight. And that's typical. Only a handful of, a small percentage of people are willing to put a skin in their game. Everybody else like, no, no, we're not willing. So that first test, it filtered the cowards. You may say with your mouth all you want, I want to liberate the Holy Land, I want to do X, Y, Z. Allah puts you through that test. And then when you're in a position where you actually have to do it, that's when a lot of the people just kind of fall off. And you don't need the cowards in a battle. So that was the first test. The second test was to filter out the selfish among them. Allah told them, I am going to appoint a commoner, Talut, which is Saul in the biblical recollection. So I'm going to appoint him as a king on you. He's a commoner. We're the rich people. We're the mela. It should be one of us. So that's the second test, is fighting for leadership. Will you accept somebody's leadership if he is more qualified than you are, or you only do it if you're given the leadership? That's a disease that a lot of people have. Everybody wants to be a leader, nobody wants to be a follower. So this second test was the test to test their commitment, and the selfish will never accept somebody else to be the leader. Even though they had the chance to step up and volunteer, but they didn't. So out of the 80,000, only a few of them accepted his leadership. So now we're down to 8,000. From the 800,000, now we're down to 8,000 people. So this test filtered the selfish and the uncommitted ones. So the third test came to filter out the weak-willed. Fighting requires a strong will. Commitment requires a strong will. فلما فصل طالوت بالجنود قال إن الله مبتليكم بنهر فمن شرب منه فليس مني ومن لم يطعمه فإنه مني إلا من اغترف غرفة بيده فشربوا منه إلا قليلا منهم. So the test is, he took the army and says, we're going to be crossing a river. You're going to be thirsty, but you're not allowed to drink from it except one handful. You get one handful, that's all you're allowed to drink from it. And the eloquence of the Quran, it says, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَطْعَمْهُ. Ta'ima is to eat. You don't say you eat water. Don't eat water. Whoever doesn't eat from the water, even that statement doesn't make sense until you know that some of these people started playing tricks. Okay, I'm not going to drink one drink. I'm going to grab a piece of bread, soak it in the water, and eat it. That's the uncommitted. The uncommitted will always find ways to get around the order. The order is one drink, that's all you get. So most of them failed that test because they couldn't stand the sight of water. So that test, they went down from 8,000 to 800. 800,000, now down to 800 that were continuing with the military. Because that test, Talut says, if you drink from it, I don't want you following me. You don't need numbers in a fight. You need committed people. It's not about numbers. It's about commitment. Now the fourth test came up. Now the armies facing each other, Talut and Jalut, both armies are there. فلما جاوزه هو والذين آمنوا معه قالوا لا طاقة لنا اليوم بجالوت وجنوده. They saw the armies, they were, giants. And they're looking at them like that, they're big giants, and says, no, we're not going, we have no stomach for the fight. And most of them ran away except a handful. And the hadith from Prophet ﷺ puts their number as the same number on the Battle of Badr, 313. Out of 800,000 that started with, we want to liberate the Holy Land, 313 were still on their feet to fight the battle. And the verse says, فَهَزَمُوهُمْ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. They defeated them with Allah's permission. Fa implies quickness. That battle was short. David killed Goliath, and the battle was done quickly. Because it's not about numbers, it's about commitment. If you are committed and you show Allah that you're serious, Allah will be with you. And if Allah is with you, who's going to defeat you? So it was a decisive victory for those 313 qualified, committed people. So the few in human, this is true in human history. The few who have the success factors are the ones who matter. They're the ones who make a change. Change doesn't come from the bulk of the people. It comes from these special, committed people who are few. And any country that has, or any group, or any entity that has some of these committed people, they will get somewhere. So we have to reflect and ask ourselves. And be honest with yourself. I mean, you're talking to yourself. Am I brave and take the initiative? Or am I just happy to be led by others? Let somebody else come with the idea, and okay, maybe I'll follow, maybe I won't. Are you that type of person? Or are you the one that takes the initiative and then drive everybody around you to accomplish it? Are you selfless and think of others, or only your idea is the only one that matters? Some people only do the work if they're recognized. If they're not recognized, they will not. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna get the recognition. Are you doing it for the recognition, or are you doing it for God? And this is true in anything, whether it's religious or whether it's anything. You do the right thing, and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, He will take care of you getting recognition without you asking for it. Ask yourself, am I strong-willed? Will I follow through even when you hit a brick wall? Because you're going to have obstacles. Do you stop at the first obstacle, or do you keep hammering at it until you achieve the goal that you wanted to achieve? That's what a committed person is. They do not accept the word no. The word no does not exist. They keep at it, they keep at it, they keep the trust in Allah, and they keep hammering at it until they achieve what they set out to achieve. But cowards, the first time you hit, somebody yells at you, or that's it, I can't do it anymore. No, you keep going. If you are on the side of right, you keep going no matter what anybody says, or whatever difficulties that may be in front of you. It'll make you stronger. And ask yourself, am I disciplined? And discipline is, am I disciplined in life, in work, am I punctual? Am I organized? These are qualities that are very important in successful people. You cannot be disshuffled, you cannot be tardy, you have to have value of time. You have to appreciate punctuality. When you do something, you do it correctly. You do it perfectly, not just barely the minimum just to get by. So Allah Ta'ala picked these stories in the Quran because every story takes facets of the human nature and shows you what the best human quality is and what happens if you don't have it. So the Quran molds the perfect human being. When you take all these stories and all of the guidance in the Quran and you implement it, you understand it and implement it, you become a leader. And the Sahaba alayhim salatu wassalam, when they understood that, they were transformed from sheep herders to nation herders. Because the same people, they're the same people. We have the same God, we have the same Prophet, we have the same Quran. What's the difference between us and them? Commitment. They understood and they implemented. We read for barakah. Let's be honest with ourselves. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's what the most people do. They pick up the Quran, they read it for barakah, and then they put it back. Did you implement it? Do you understand what Allah wants you to do? When we understand what we're supposed to do and start doing it, that's when we get somewhere. So the prophets were such individuals that caused change. They were selfless. They were committed. They would not stop. They had strong will. They were selfless. They were committed. And that's why they caused a big change in human history. And anybody who acts like them will achieve, similar outcomes. But changing personality traits, it requires training and hard work. You don't wake up one day and find yourself to be committed and organized. It takes work. And if you don't have it in you, at least have your children have those attributes. For those of us who are, maybe we're getting a little bit older, you have your children. Instill that in your children. Raise a leader. Don't raise somebody who's just good in math. Have him good in math, be punctual, be spiritual, be a good Muslim, all of them. That's what it all takes. When you have all of these qualities, now you can cause a change. We want to liberate the Holy Land. We want to liberate ourselves from our own sins. You have to be committed. It's not going to come, somebody else is not going to come and help you. You have to help yourself. So it is in our power to achieve. And we have to try. And if it's too late for us, then focus on your children and your grandchildren. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لكم فاستغفروه إنه الغفور الرحيم.